The day my father's funeral turned into an auction for his house, I knew I wasn't a daughter anymore. I was just an obstacle to be removed. My name is Sarah. I'm 36, single, and for the last 5 years, I was my father's shadow. When his heart condition worsened, I moved back into the family home, left my apartment, and gave up a teaching career I'd built with care. Everyone in the family praised me at first. Sarah's the dependable one, they said. My older sister Lisa even told me I was a saint, but she rarely visited, and when she did, she complained about the smell of medications in the air or the clutter of oxygen tanks in the living room. Dad always tried to make it easier. "This house will be yours one day," he whispered one night when I changed his sheets. "It's the least I can do. You've given up everything for me." He repeated it so often it became my anchor. I didn't need wealth or applause, just that roof, those walls, the memories sealed inside. So when he passed in March, I thought grief would be the hardest trial. I thought the funeral would be about mourning, about honoring the man who raised us. I was wrong. The church hall was full, hymns still echoing when Lisa took the microphone. I expected a eulogy. Instead, she smiled like a hostess at a banquet. "Before everyone goes, I want to share some good news," she announced. "Dad's house has already been spoken for. We've secured a buyer. It's a relief knowing things are handled." The room froze. A buyer? My breath caught. I still lived there. Dad had promised it to me. Gas scattered through the pews. A cousin whispered, "Already sold?" Another muttered, "That was fast." I stood up. "Lisa, what are you talking about? The house isn't yours to sell." She gave me a pitying smile, as if I were a child who didn't understand grown-up matters. "Don't make a scene, Sarah. You know, Dad trusted me with the paperwork. Everything's signed. It's done." People stared at me. My hands trembled. "He promised me. He told me the house was mine." Lisa's voice sharpened. "Promises aren't contracts. You've lived off him long enough. It's time you stood on your own 2 feet." Heat roared in my ears. The funeral flowers blurred. Somewhere behind Lisa's podium, I spotted her purse gaping open, a corner of crisp paperwork poking out, legal pages with bold black lines. I caught a glimpse of a signature that looked weak and jagged. Dad's name. I froze. Did she have him sign before he died, when he was too weak to read? Did she push papers in front of him under the pretense of handling bills? A murmur swelled among relatives. Some avoided my eyes. Others whispered into their hands. Lisa basked in it, head high, like she had orchestrated this moment. I wanted to scream, to tear the papers from her purse, to shout that Dad would never have humiliated me like this, not in front of strangers at his funeral, but my throat locked. Lisa closed her speech with a polished smile. "Thank you all for being here today. Dad would be glad to know his affairs are settled." Applause rippled, awkward, unsure, but it was applause nonetheless. And in that moment, standing in the church hall where my father's coffin still rested, I realized my sister had turned grief into a transaction. She had taken my father's last promise and sold it like furniture at a yard sale, and if I didn't act, she'd sell me out of my own home too. The funeral meal hadn't even ended when I cornered Lisa in our father's living room. The smell of casserole still lingered. Guests murmured in the dining room, but I didn't care. "You humiliated me in front of everyone," I said, voice shaking. "At Dad's funeral? How dare you talk about selling the house?" Lisa set down her wine glass like she'd been expecting me. "Don't start, Sarah. We both know you can't afford to keep this place." Dad understood that. He wanted stability, and I provided it. I laughed, sharp and bitter. "You provided nothing. You swooped in twice a month with flowers and took selfies. I was the one feeding him pills at 2 a.m., rushing him to the ER, paying bills with my savings. Don't you dare rewrite history." Claire, Lisa's best friend and shadow, smirked from the corner. "Everyone saw how dependent you were. Maybe your dad just wanted to save you from drowning in responsibility." I turned on her. "Stay out of this. You don't know what nights in that house were like. You don't know the sacrifices I made." Lisa crossed her arms. "Sacrifices? You quit your job, you isolated yourself, that was your choice? Don't pin it on me." My hands curled into fists. It wasn't a choice. It was duty. Something you clearly don't understand. Her eyes gleamed. "You're angry because you expected a reward. Newsflash. Caregiving doesn't entitle you to property. Dad knew I could handle finances. That's why he signed everything to me. Signed? I stepped closer, lowering my voice. I saw those papers in your purse. His signature looked like scribbles. Did you shove them under his nose when he could barely hold a pen? For the first time, her jaw twitched. Watch your mouth. Or what? You'll sue me for telling the truth? Go ahead. Let's drag it into court. Let's show the world how you turned Dad's funeral into a real estate pitch. Gasps rippled. Relatives had drifted in from the dining room, drawn by the raised voices. Aunt Carol clutched her pearls. Uncle Jim whispered to another cousin. Lisa saw the audience and straightened, smoothing her dress. Fine. You want honesty? Dad said he worried you'd never get your life together. He wanted me to make sure the house went to someone responsible. The words sliced deeper than any blade. For years, I had lived on Dad's reassurances, his whispered promises that I wasn't wasting my life. To hear Lisa twist it now felt like losing him a second time. Tears burned my eyes, but I held her gaze. If he really said that, then you won't mind me verifying it. With every doctor, every nurse, every neighbor who saw me by his side while you were gone. Lisa's smile faltered for half a second before returning, brittle and bright. Do whatever you want. But you've got 30 days to get out. After that, new owners take possession. That's legal fact. The room buzzed with whispers, judgment thick in the air. Some turned away, unwilling to choose sides. Others eyed me with pity, as though I were already homeless. But deep inside, beneath the sting, something hardened. If Lisa thought threats and humiliation would break me, she was wrong. This wasn't over. The next morning, my phone buzzed as I poured coffee. A notification blinked. You have been removed from Carter family chat. I tapped again. The thread was gone. Years of photos, holiday plans, and jokes, erased with one click. Lisa had cut me out of the family record. Not long after, Facebook lit up. Lisa had posted a polished black and white photo of Dad with the caption, "We do what we must to protect his legacy, even when it means hard choices. Some people will never understand." The comments stung. Lisa, you've always been the strong one. Your father trusted you. Don't let anyone take advantage. One cousin added, sad that certain people are trying to profit from grief. They never used my name, but everyone knew who they meant. My phone buzzed with private messages, not of support, but of scolding. Sarah, why are you fighting Lisa in public? Just move on. It's not worth family peace. Family peace, as if peace meant one person devouring another while the rest looked away. By afternoon, even my friends felt distant. A neighbor who used to wave every morning avoided eye contact. At the grocery store, two women from church lowered their voices when I walked past. Shame clung to me heavier than grief. I tried to cook dinner, but my hands shook too much. I stared at the empty chair where Dad used to sit, the silence in the house louder than any accusation. Then the phone rang. The number belonged to Mr. Patel, the pharmacist who had filled Dad's prescriptions for years. Sarah, he said, voice low, I saw the posts online. I need you to know something. Your sister came in last winter with your father's card. Said she was picking up meds, but what she bought wasn't medicine. It was perfume and a designer purse. We keep receipts. I gripped the counter until my knuckles ached. You're sure? I still have the copies. If you need them, they're yours. Hope flared, small but steady. For the first time since the funeral, I had something solid. That night, I messaged Lisa directly. Stop smearing me. I know about the pharmacy. I know what you did. Her reply came fast. Careful. Defamation has consequences. You're already out of the house in 30 days. Don't make it worse. I dropped the phone, chest pounding. Every path felt blocked. The group chat gone, family turning cold. Lisa painting me as a thief. But Mr. Patel's words replayed in my head. We keep receipts. I wasn't powerless. Not yet. The house was dark as I locked up for the night. From across the street, I spotted Mrs. Green watching from her porch, her silhouette framed in yellow lamplight. She raised a hand, slow and deliberate, as if to say, I see you. I believe you. It was the first real kindness in days, and it was enough to remind me, Lisa might have the family on her side, but I had the truth, and the truth was about to speak. Mr. Patel wasn't bluffing. The next morning, he slid a manila envelope across the counter. "I printed everything," he said. Inside were receipts, purchases made on Dad's card. Not prescriptions, but perfume, a gold necklace, 2 handbags. Dates lined up with weeks Lisa claimed she had picked up Dad's meds. "Thank you," I whispered. My throat burned with both shame and relief. That evening, I sat at the kitchen table, Dad's empty chair across from me, and drafted a post. For those asking why I'm contesting my sister's claim, here are receipts. My father's card was used for personal luxury items, not medicine. This isn't about greed. It's about honesty. I attached the scanned documents and pressed post before my courage could collapse. The reaction was instant. Friends from college commented, "Unbelievable." "Stay strong, Sarah." A neighbor wrote, "I always wondered how Lisa could afford those handbags." Within an hour, the family split into camps. My cousin Melanie typed, "Lisa would never do that. Sarah, stop twisting things." Uncle Jim replied beneath her, "Receipts don't lie. I saw Lisa bring shopping bags into the house when Helen was sick." Lisa, of course, fired back. She posted a photo of herself outside a law office with the caption, "Truth will come out. Sad some people fabricate to distract from their own failures." The comment section boiled. Half of them cheered Lisa's strength, half demanded explanations. And right in the middle, Mrs. Green added her voice. "I heard Helen say with my own ears that the house was meant for Sarah. Don't erase her sacrifice." That single comment lit the fuse. People I hadn't spoken to in years messaged me privately. One wrote, "Your dad told me last summer you were the reason he was still alive. Don't let them silence you." Another, "If you need me to say what I heard, I will." The private support steadied me, but the public battle only grew. Lisa's friends spammed laughing emojis on my post. One cousin tagged me in a sneer. "Caretaking doesn't equal ownership. Stop begging." I nearly deleted everything. But then another message came, this time from a woman named Denise, the hospice nurse who had visited weekly. She wrote, "I kept my own notes. 2 weeks before he died, your father said, 'Sarah should be okay in this house when I'm gone. If needed, I'll testify.'" I reread that line until the words blurred. It was proof, not just of Lisa's theft, but of Dad's true wishes. I called Rebecca, the lawyer Mrs. Green had recommended. Her voice was calm. "Keep gathering. Witnesses, documents, timelines. The more we have, the harder it is for a judge to dismiss." By then, Lisa had escalated. A certified letter arrived, stamped with a law firm's logo. It ordered me to cease and desist defamatory publications. I laughed bitterly. Threats printed on glossy paper didn't scare me anymore. I took a photo of the letter and uploaded it alongside Denise's note. Caption: "If telling the truth is defamation, then I guess I'm guilty." The responses stunned even me. Dozens of comments appeared from people who had seen Lisa's spending, who remembered Dad's words, who had doubted the sudden will change. The story was no longer mine alone. It belonged to everyone who had watched quietly until now. That night, Lisa's mask cracked. She sent me a text. "You're destroying the family. Take it down or you'll regret it." I stared at the screen, pulse steady. Then I typed back, "The only thing destroying this family is your lies. I'm not afraid of the truth." When I set down the phone, the silence of the house no longer felt like abandonment. It felt like a battleground. And for the first time, I knew I wasn't fighting alone. 3 days after the online firestorm, a thick envelope landed in my mailbox. The return address wasn't Lisa's lawyer this time. It was First Horizon Bank. My stomach twisted as I tore it open. Inside, notice of default. My father's house, the house Lisa had claimed was already sold, had been used as collateral for a $180,000 loan, and the account was now 3 months past due. If the arrears weren't paid in full within 30 days, foreclosure proceedings would begin. I sank into Dad's old recliner, the letter shaking in my hands. So this was her plan. Lisa hadn't just schemed to take the house, she'd leveraged it, turned our father's legacy into a casino chip. And now the bank was circling like a vulture. That evening, I drove to Rebecca's office, the letter folded in my bag like a live grenade. She scanned it quickly, frowning. "The deed of trust was filed 3 weeks before your father died," she said. "Highly suspicious timing. And if she misrepresented herself as sole heir before probate, that's fraud. My chest clenched. So the house could be gone before we even step into court? Rebecca nodded grimly. That's what foreclosure means. We need to act fast, but this also strengthens your case. No judge likes to see heirs draining estate property for personal debt. I left her office with a mix of dread and determination. The next day, I confronted Lisa outside her condo. She was loading shopping bags into her car, a designer purse swinging from her arm. I held up the notice. You mortgaged Dad's house, and now the bank's coming for it. She froze, then forced a laugh. It's temporary. Investments take cash flow. You wouldn't understand. You mean gambling debts? I shot back. Perfume and purses on Dad's card. You're not investing. You're bleeding us dry. Her eyes narrowed. Lower your voice. Why? So the neighbors don't hear what you did? Maybe they should. Claire stepped out from the building, sunglasses flashing. Sarah, you're pathetic. You can't manage your own life, so you try to drag Lisa down. Newsflash. Nobody believes your sob story. I thrust the letter toward them. The bank believes it. 30 days until foreclosure. You've doomed us all. For a flicker of a moment, Lisa's mask slipped. Fear flashed across her face, quickly buried under arrogance. She snatched the letter and tore it in half. Stay out of my business. The house isn't yours, and it never will be. She shoved the scraps back at me, climbed into the car, and slammed the door. I stood there in the parking lot, paper pieces fluttering in the wind, fury burning hotter than grief. That night, I made my move. On Facebook, I posted a redacted photo of the bank notice. For anyone still doubting why I fight, my father's home was mortgaged for $180,000 before he passed. Payments are already in default. Foreclosure looms. This isn't rumor, it's fact. The reaction was volcanic. Neighbors commented, shocked. A church member wrote, I drove Lisa to the casino twice last year. I thought it was odd. Another relative added, Helen would never have allowed this. This is theft. Even those who had sided with Lisa went silent. No laughing emojis, no smug hashtags, just silence. And then slowly, a tide of support. By midnight, Lisa texted me, her fury barely contained. You've crossed the line. Take it down or you'll regret it. I stared at the words and typed back one sentence. The only one who should regret anything is you. When I set down the phone, I walked room to room in Dad's house. The walls seemed to listen. I touched the mantel where his photo rested, his smile steady in the frame. Don't worry. Dad, I whispered. I won't let them bury your home under their debts, not while I'm here. And for the first time, my fear gave way to something sharper, resolve. I chose the battleground carefully, the community center hall where Dad's wake had been held. Neutral ground, public, impossible for Lisa to twist into a private ambush. I invited the entire family, plus the witnesses who had already stepped forward. Mr. Patel with his receipts, Denise the hospice nurse with her notes, Mrs. Green from across the street. Rebecca stood beside me, calm as stone, her folder thick with evidence. Lisa arrived late, Claire trailing behind her in oversized sunglasses. They swept in like celebrities avoiding paparazzi. Heads high, though I caught the twitch in Lisa's jaw. Why are we here? Lisa snapped before even sitting. This circus ends in probate, not some community meeting. Rebecca's voice was measured. Then think of this as a preview. I stood, my hand steady for the first time in weeks. Lisa, you said Dad trusted you. You said he gave you the house because I couldn't handle life. But the truth is written in every record, every receipt, every word he told the people who actually showed up for him. I laid out the papers one by one. Medical proxy naming me as caregiver. Hospice notes. Sarah should be okay in the house when I'm gone. Mr. Patel's receipts. Luxury items purchased with Dad's card signed in your name. And here, I held up the foreclosure notice. The bank says you mortgaged the house for $180,000 and you're already in default. Gasps rippled through the room. Uncle Jim muttered, I knew it, while Aunt Carol covered her mouth. Lisa laughed, brittle. Anyone can fabricate receipts. Sarah's desperate. She's inventing stories. Mr. Patel rose, voice firm. These are not stories. I rang up those transactions myself. I saw her use the card. Denise stepped forward next. And I wrote those notes the day your father told me himself. He wanted Sarah safe in this house. I'd swear it under oath. Claire's smirk faltered. Lisa's face went pale. "You're all ganging up on me," she said, her voice rising. "Dad wanted me to handle things. He knew Sarah would never grow up." "Enough," I said, my voice cutting through hers. "If Dad wanted you to handle things, why did you hide the loan? Why did you forge a shaky signature days before he died? Why did you gamble away his house before the funeral flowers even wilted?" Rebecca set a photo on the projector screen, a comparison of Dad's signature from his last birthday card and the jagged scrawl on Lisa's will. The differences were glaring. "Our handwriting expert will testify," she said. "And the notary stamp on the will? The notary's office was closed that day due to weather. We already subpoenaed their journal. Your so-called will won't survive court scrutiny." The room buzzed. Lisa tried to speak, but words caught in her throat. Then a clear voice broke the tension. "Is it true, Mom?" Everyone turned. It was Lily, Lisa's own daughter, standing by the door, her eyes wide, tears streaking her cheeks. Lisa spun. "Lily, go wait outside." "No," Lily said, shaking her head. "Did you really gamble Grandpa's house away?" The silence was unbearable. Finally, Lisa's shoulders sagged, her mouth opening and closing without sound. Claire grabbed her arm, whispering something sharp, but the damage was done. Uncle Jim slammed his hand on the table. "I won't stand by this. Helen raised us better. You've shamed us all." Lisa's voice cracked into a shout. "You think Sarah's some saint? She wasted her life here. Dad pitied her." "That's why she stayed." I met her glare. "No, Lisa, I stayed because I loved him, and he trusted me. That's why every nurse, every neighbor, every record backs me up. You can't erase that. Not with lies, not with loans, not with forged paper." Rebecca gathered the documents, her tone final. "We're filing the petition tomorrow. Contest of will, injunction on foreclosure, fraud investigation. You've run out of places to hide." Lisa's eyes darted around the room, but no ally rose, not one. Even Claire's face was drained of confidence. Lily sobbed softly in the corner, the only sound breaking the heavy silence. I placed Dad's photo on the table, facing me. "This house is more than property. It's his legacy, and I will not let you bury it under your greed." Lisa pushed back her chair with a screech, storming out without another word. Claire followed, her heels clicking against the floor. The door slammed shut, leaving only echoes. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Mrs. Green reached for my hand. "You did right, child," she whispered. "Truth stands longer than lies." I squeezed her hand back, heart pounding but steady. The battle wasn't finished, not until a judge signed the papers. But today, Lisa's mask had cracked in front of everyone. And once cracked, it would never be whole again. The court granted our injunction 2 weeks later. The foreclosure clock stopped, at least for now. I stood outside the courthouse clutching the stamped order, the air sharp with spring wind. Relief should have washed over me, but instead there was only a hollow ache. Winning a pause wasn't the same as winning peace. Lisa found me on the courthouse steps. Her makeup was smudged, her voice brittle. "Sarah, please. You don't understand. The debts, they weren't just gambling. I had bills, credit cards, tuition for Lily. I thought I could manage it if I had the house." I stared at her, searching her face for some trace of the sister I once trusted. All I saw was desperation painted over with excuses. "You forged Dad's name. You lied to the family. You dragged me through the mud in front of the whole world. And now you want sympathy?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I'm asking for a chance. If we stand together, maybe we can save what's left." For a heartbeat, I wavered. Memories flashed. Birthday parties when we were kids, whispered secrets under blankets, Dad sitting between us on the porch. But then I remembered the funeral, the smirk as she announced the sale, the Facebook posts tearing me apart. I shook my head. "No. I'll save the house. But I won't save you." Her lips parted as if to argue, but no words came. She turned away, shoulders hunched, walking down the steps like a stranger. Rebecca touched my arm. "You did the right thing." "Did I?" I asked quietly. "Because it feels like I buried my sister today." That night, I sat at Dad's kitchen table, the same table where I had spooned him soup, sorted pill bottles, and written bills long after midnight. I lit a candle by his photo and whispered, I did what you asked, Dad. I fought. I kept the house safe. But another whisper answered in my own head, at what cost? I opened my journal and wrote 3 words in block letters. No more silence. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was clarity. I had spent my whole life swallowing anger for the sake of family peace. Now I knew the truth. Peace without justice is just surrender. So I chose not to forgive. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I finally understood that forgiving Lisa would only let her wound me again. I closed the journal, the candle flickering against the dark. The decision was made. Tomorrow, the legal fight would continue. But tonight, in this house, in this moment, I was free of her. The day the judge declared the will invalid, I felt my knees weaken, not from shock, but from release. The evidence had spoken louder than Lisa's denials. The shaky signature, the notary's closed office, the witnesses who had stood firm. The house was legally restored to me. Walking back through the front door, court papers in hand, the silence felt different. It wasn't hostile anymore. It was mine. I moved through each room slowly, fingertips brushing the walls. The dining room where Dad had told his corny jokes. The living room where his oxygen machine once hummed through the night. The porch where I'd sat in vigil, wondering if I could keep going. Now every corner felt claimed. Not by Lisa's debts, not by the bank, but by me. I boxed up the last of Lisa's things, a pair of shoes she had left behind, a sweater she'd borrowed from Dad years ago, and set them outside. No anger, no ceremony, just closure. In the weeks that followed, I repainted the kitchen, repaired the sagging fence, planted flowers in the front yard. Neighbors stopped by with congratulations. Mrs. Green brought muffins, saying, your father would be proud. Lily came once, hesitant, eyes full of questions. I told her she was always welcome, that her mother's choices didn't define her. Lisa never came. I didn't expect her to. Our story had ended in that courthouse, not with forgiveness, but with finality. One night, I lit a candle beneath Dad's photo and sat quietly at the table. The weight of years lifted. For the first time since he passed, I didn't feel like a caretaker or a cast-off. I felt like myself again. I kept my promise, Dad, I whispered. The house is safe. And so am I. I stepped outside, the night air cool, the stars sharp above the roofline. For the first time, the future didn't scare me. It called to me. I said the words out loud, steady and certain. I choose me. No more silence. No more begging for respect that should have been given freely. No more carrying guilt that never belonged to me. The house was mine, but more importantly, so was my life. If you've listened this far, thank you. Tell me in the comments, what would you have done in my place? And don't forget to subscribe to Revenge Stories Women 25, because stories like mine deserve to be heard.